Good evening and welcome to this special show on Pakistan election. The former World Cup winning captain Imran Khan is set to be the next Prime Minister of Pakistan. He's firmly in the driver's seat, but of course he will fall short of the majority mark. The majority mark in the Assembly is 137 and his party has crossed about 115 seats. This means they will need support of other players. So after 22 years, remember it was in 1996 that he formed his political party, that today Imran Khan's time has come. But remember, this election is taking place in the backdrop of allegations of rigging and a lot of violence. Yesterday, 31 people were killed. Speaking to the nation from his home turf on the outskirts of Islamabad, Imran Khan spoke on a range of issues he plans to pursue during his tenure as Prime Minister. According to him, the primary policy focus of his government will be to uplift the poor by reforming institutions within the country. Speaking about India, Imran Khan has lamented his portrayal as a Bollywood villain in the Indian media. He said he wants the two countries to sit down and resolve the Kashmir issue and end the blame game. He also called for better trade ties between the two countries to reduce poverty in the subcontinent. Regarding the United States, Khan said he will be working towards a more equal and more balanced relationship. Let's listen in to Imran Khan first.
मेरी इंशाल्लाह कोशिश ये होगी कि हम पूरा जोर लगाएं इस मुल्क में इस निचले तबके को ऊपर उठाने के लिए। हमारी सारी पॉलिसीज बने कि हमने अपनी ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट, इंसानों को कैसे डेवलप करना है, और मैं चाहूंगा कि हमारा सारा मुल्क इस तरफ सोचे। सबसे पहले तो हमारा जो नेबर है चाइना, उससे हम और मजबूत करेंगे अपनी रिलेशनशिप। चाइना एक बड़ा हमें मौका देता है कि चाइना जो सीपैक उन्होंने पाकिस्तान में प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया है, इससे हमें मौका मिलता है कि हम उसको सीपैक को इस्तेमाल करके इन्वेस्टमेंट पाकिस्तान के अंदर लेके आएँ। दूसरा, चाइना से जो हम सीखना चाहते हैं, वो जो मैं बात कह बैठा हूँ, 70 करोड़ लोग चाइना ने गुर्बत से 30 साल में निकाले हैं, और मैं इंशाल्लाह हमारी पूरी कोशिश होगी कि चाइना से जो पॉवर्टी एलिविएशन है, हम टीम भेजेंगे कि क्या क्या उन्होंने स्टेप्स लिए कि किस तरह हम अपने निचले तबके को ऊपर उठाएं। कोशिश होनी ये चाहिए पाकिस्तान और हिंदुस्तान की लीडरशिप को कि हमें टेबल पे बैठ के हम कोशिश करें, इस मसले को हल करें। ये जाने तो नहीं लगा, और अगर यही ब्लेम गेम ही चलती रहेगी कि ये पाकिस्तान की वजह से ये हो रहा है, और पाकिस्तान सारा वक्त हम समझते हैं कि बलूचिस्तान में जो हो रहा है वो हिंदुस्तान की वजह से हो रहा है, ये तो हम स्क्वायर वन पे हैं इस वक्त। मैं ये चाहूँगा कि अगर हिंदुस्तान की लीडरशिप तैयार है, हम बिल्कुल तैयार हैं कि हम अपनी ताल्लुकात बेहतर करें। आप एक कदम हमारी तरफ आएंगे, हम 2 कदम आपकी तरफ जाएंगे। मैं वो पाकिस्तानी हूँ जो समझता हूँ कि अगर हमारे और पाकिस्तान और हिंदुस्तान के ताल्लुकात अच्छे होते हैं तो ये बर्रे सगीर के लिए बेहतरी है। अगर हम ये गुर्बत कम करना चाहते हैं बर्रे सगीर में, जो कि सबसे नंबर 1 प्रायोरिटी होनी चाहिए किसी भी गवर्नमेंट की, तो सबसे बेहतर ये हो कि हमारी एक दूसरे से ट्रेड टाइज चले, हम एक दूसरे से तजारत करें, और जितना हम तजारत करेंगे दोनों मुल्कों का फ़ायदा है।
All right, so you've heard Imran Khan, all the noises that he made about US, about China, about Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia and also India. Remember, India was actually 5th or 6th on the list when he was talking about his foreign policy approach to various countries. But he tried to make all the right noises. Let's go across now to Ambassador Pinak Chakravarty, who's joining us. We're also joined by Alyssa Ayres, Senior Fellow for India, Pakistan and South Asia at the Council on Foreign Relations. She's joining us all the way from Washington, D.C., and she's also a former State Department official. Alyssa, what did you think about Imran Khan's victory speech? The results are still to be formally announced. He said that he will not be living in the Prime Minister's house. He will be making sure that he himself, his ministers, his parliamentarians cut down expenditure, and he will focus on governance and putting the economy on track.
Yes, thank you. Obviously, focusing on poverty alleviation and human development and bettering Pakistan are wonderful goals, and certainly any Prime Minister of Pakistan should want to focus on those goals. So I thought those were the right things to say. I was encouraged by the statement on looking to work towards better relations between India and Pakistan. That, I think, is a positive signal. He could have not said anything at all, or he could have said something along the lines of, what a difficult relationship, I'm not going to focus on this. But instead, he said something positive and ambitious. The challenge, of course, is whether he will be able to make much of a dent on reining in the terrorist groups that continue to operate from Pakistani soil and which continue to pose a major threat, not only to India-Pakistan ties, but to Pakistan's ties with Afghanistan and, of course, to its ties with the United States as well.
Okay. Alyssa, we're also joined by former Pakistani ambassador to India, Mr. Abdul Basit. Mr. Basit, thanks for speaking to CNBC TV 18. We've heard Imran Khan. He made a 40-minute long speech from his home turf. But will this new Prime Minister, the results are still to be formally announced, but will this new Prime Minister be grappling first with all the domestic issues? Will he be caught up with domestic issues, the currency crisis, the $18 billion trade deficit that the country is staring at the moment?
Thank you very much for having me. And I think you're absolutely right. His priorities would be to fix the economy, also strengthen anti-corruption laws and mechanisms in Pakistan, and also focus on human development. So these are his priorities, and I'm sure alongside he would also focus on foreign policy challenges, and especially what is happening in Afghanistan and our relations with India.
That's right. Mr. Basit, I'm going to take that question to Pinak Chakravarty, who's joining us. Ambassador, he sent the message to India saying that we want peace. We're willing to take 2 steps if you're willing to come to the dialogue table. Peace between India and Pakistan is extremely important in the subcontinent. He's been made out to be a villain. Kashmir remains the core issue between India and Pakistan. How do you think India will see these statements?
Well, we would see it as a new Prime Minister saying some positive things, and but the fact remains that he remained quite, totally silent on terrorism. I didn't hear him hear anything on terrorism. All the terrorist groups that function out of Pakistan with the support of the army and the ISI and who conduct terrorist operations within India, they are pushed into India. This whole asymmetrical warfare that the Pakistani military establishment is conducting against India, I didn't hear Imran Khan say anything on that. He only outlined his own issues or the issues that bother the Pakistani establishment. What about terrorism? He was quite silent on it. So I am not very encouraged because on that issue, I suppose he will. He may not be able to take an independent line, independent of the military establishment, which actually runs these terrorist groups and which actually has a pretty strong hold over some of the policies relating to India and towards Afghanistan.
Let's get a response.
So let's wait and see.
On that,
it's all good words at the moment.
Yeah. But let's wait and see. Abdul Basit, the question is, in the run-up to this election, we've seen the kind of role extremist groups have played. We've seen mainstreaming of political parties like Milli Muslim League. They could not fight this election, but Hafiz Saeed voted, and he backed about 200 or 300 candidates in this election process. Imran Khan, in the run-up to this campaign, has been called Taliban Khan. He said in the past that Taliban should set up an office in Pakistan. PTI gave a grant of 550 million to Sami ul Haq, who is known as the father of Taliban. Maulana Fazlur Rahman, who is on a US terror watch list, he also got a grant. Ambassador Basit, if you're able to hear us, Ambassador Pinak Chakravarty raised this important point about why Imran Khan didn't speak too much about terrorism. Probably because he does not have the full authority to do so. Because throughout this election campaign, we've seen him being called as Taliban Khan as well.
Oh, it is your prerogative to draw whatever conclusions you would like to draw, but the fact of the matter is that the people of Pakistan have rejected, yet again, a religious and extremist process. And very encouraging from our perspective. And the people of Pakistan have spoken up. They would like to focus on fixing many things which are, which are required to be fixed in Pakistan. And I'm glad that Imran Khan made a brilliant speech. He was very composed. He also talked about not engaging in political victimization. And then on foreign policy, when it came to India, he was, I think, his approach was really correct in the sense that he would like to have a good relationship with India. But the fact of the matter is that we all know what continues to bedevil our relationship, that in Jammu and Kashmir dispute, primarily speaking, is starting from 1948. So terrorism may be one issue. We're also concerned about terrorism. You did mention Afghanistan, how Afghanistan suffered over the last 3-4 decades. So we need to help Afghanistan in fixing all these problems. So I think overall, I would rather suggest to my Indian friends, please move on. If you want to continue to start as Imran Khan said, it doesn't serve any purpose to keep exchanging, blame game doesn't serve any purpose. So if you want to move on, come up with a new system between our two countries.
All right. Ambassador Basit, on that note, I'm going to go across to Alyssa once again. Alyssa, this entire election has been marred by allegations of rigging. Today, political parties were complaining that this counting process is not transparent because many of their polling agents were thrown away from counting centres. They were not given election result certificates. There were also complaints about why the announcement of this result is so delayed. Do you think at some point Imran Khan, the new Prime Minister and the new government will have to explain this and also those allegations about military interference?
Well, there are a number of different types of allegations, not only about interference on the day of the elections, but also in the run-up to the elections about parties being prevented from taking out processions, party supporters being prevented from joining gatherings, the normal part of a political process. So I do think that there are some questions that the Election Commission of Pakistan will have to answer. The Election Commission, of course, has said that they found no improprieties. They made a statement along those lines. I just wonder how this will continue to unfold in the coming days, because you have a large number of parties, with the exception of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, who have come out and said, we've noticed these irregularities, this type of interference, and we're concerned about the validity of this election. The PMLN yesterday, it was Shahbaz Sharif who said that they will not accept the results. Now, I don't know if other parties will take a similar stance on accepting the results or not, but there's certainly a lot of questions that many parties have posed about the process of this election, and that's something that's going to continue to be a question. And
Ambassador Basit, how would you respond to that? How would you respond to Alyssa, who feels that there will be a question mark on this entire election process?
No, I don't think so, because the election process itself went very, very smoothly. It was at the end that some procedural things did happen, and I think the majority, most of the parties do understand. And you will see that all parties will eventually accept the results, and we will move on. I do not see any rigging taking place. Frankly speaking, I cast my vote, and people would cast their vote within 5 minutes. So the overall procedure all day went very, very well. But because of the collapse of one RTS system, computerized system, that caused a delay in making the results public. But otherwise, the elections, I think, overall went very well, very well. And then, these rigging allegations are made all the time in our country. So we are very much used to such things. But I'm sure that after a week or so, you will see all parties coming around and accepting the results.
All right. And Ambassador Pinak Chakravarty, do you feel this new Prime Minister would be under a lot of pressure? Because he will form a coalition government, number one. Right now, I think they have managed to cross the 115 number. But they will have to get support of other political parties. And the kind of opposition that we're looking at right now when the government has not even been formally sworn in, this is going to continue in the next couple of months?
Well, I think he will find the numbers finally with the help of smaller parties and others. And on the issue of large-scale rigging, etc., I think our own Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. Qureshi, is in some observer group, because I saw him speaking on television from Islamabad. And he was saying that he didn't think that there was much large-scale rigging, and there was probably in some areas there were problems, etc. And this whole business of the computer software breaking down and some problem with the results, etc. But that's all very well. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever election engineering that had to be done was done prior to the voting. You know, in terms of fixing candidates, in terms of, you know, scaring candidates, in terms of doing whatever the army and the ISI wanted to do to help to Imran Khan. The second point is that Imran talked about trade with India, that we should do more trade, etc. Pakistan has not yet moved even on the MFN. And so they talk about trade, but let us see if Imran can do something on MFN, you know, giving India the MFN. They are stuck there. They can't do it for some reason. And I am all for trade. I think we can do
Ambassador
trade.
Pinak,
we can do so many things. But then Pakistan,
that is a positive statement.
Generally tries to...
Yeah, that is a positive statement coming from Imran Khan, and you're also taking it positively. But I guess the feeling in the Indian government right now, Ambassador Pinak Chakravarty, is that Pakistan needs to ensure peace to make sure dialogue takes place. They're still putting the onus on Pakistan. So at the moment, there doesn't seem to be any change in government policy. We're going to take a short break on that note. But when we return, we'll go back to all our guests because we have to discuss the impact of this election. Yeah, so we're coming back in just a bit, and I'll go straight to you for that point then.